Hey guys, davidinark here, and I want to take a moment to just talk about something that came up kind of in the comments, and just as it's a matter of general discussion. I'm not by any stretch an expert or a doctor or any of that kind of stuff. All right, I'm just a guy who's been around a long time, almost half a century. But I've had friends come and go. Back in my dating days, girlfriends come and go, relationships that come in and out, that type of thing. And so I just wanted to, I don't know, kind of talk to you about how how to handle when something happens in a relationship. And specifically, when you have a friendship with someone, or it may be maybe more than that. It may be a longer relationship, a deeper relationship with someone, and that relationship, for whatever reason, comes to an end. Um, so I don't. I'm not here to fix things. I don't know how to fix things. I can't tell you how to fix certain things. But what I can say is that there are certain things that you can do to attempt to build a relationship, or repair, I should say, a relationship. And then there are certain things that no matter what you do, maybe that relationship can't be repaired, can't be rebuilt, and you just have to move on, as hard as it may be. So, first and foremost, if you've got someone that was your friend and now they're not your friend anymore, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, just a friend, whatever, okay, you got someone who was your friend, they're not your friend anymore. Um, and if you know the catalyst for that, if you know the reason, you know what happened, oh my gosh, I really, really screwed up. We're not friends anymore. Or the other side, that person really, really messed up, and so we're not friends anymore. Then you have to, first of all, you have to decide, do you still want to be friends with that person? Okay. Uh, and sometimes you have to take a really long, hard look at that. Do you really still want to be friends with that person? And when you sit down and you think about it, and if you're a pros and cons kind of person, and I know some folks are, you're listing the good qualities, the qualities that you don't like, the things that annoy you, the things you love about that person. And when you get down to the bottom of that list, if it turns out that the answer's no, I don't want to be friends with that person. Why am I doing this? Why am I spending all of this time and energy trying to be friends with a person I don't want to be friends with? If that's ultimately the conclusion that you come to, there's your answer. You say, okay, oh my gosh, I've been so crazy about this. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to turn and walk away from something you've been trying so hard to rebuild and repair. It's not. It's very, very hard. But once you know in your mind that that connection needs to be broken, then you break that connection. And when I say break the connection, I mean you turn it off. You don't text that person. You don't talk to that person. Now, I understand in certain circumstances that may be unavoidable. Maybe you work with them. Maybe they're in your class, whatever. But keep it as, for lack of a better word, professional, as you can, as much as more of an acquaintance. As the song says, someone that I used to know, that may be the ultimate solution. And that's a very harsh and hard reality to come to. And that's from your perspective. That's not even from the other person's perspective. So then, let's say you go through your pros and cons, or in your mind, you're like, yeah, I just don't, I want to be friends. I want to see if I can make it right. The number one thing that you need to do for yourself and for the other person to a certain extent is, first of all, you've got to forgive yourself for whatever wrongdoings there were. Good, bad, or ugly, whatever was wrong, whatever you did wrong, you have to forgive yourself for. I really screwed up. I know I messed up. I've got to move on. I've got to forgive myself for that. And that's probably one of the hardest things, especially the older you get and or the bigger mistakes you make. It can be really hard to forgive yourself for the things you did, right? for whatever reason, it seems like it's a whole lot easier for someone else to forgive you when you've wronged them than when you have done something and you're trying to forgive yourself. But that's the first step. You've got to forgive yourself. The next step is, and this is probably one of the really, another hard one, if not as hard as forgiving yourself. If you have wronged someone else and you want to try to repair that relationship, then you have to ask that person to forgive you. And that is specifically, and that is pointedly. Hey, I did this. I'm really sorry. I know I really screwed up. Can you please forgive me? And at that point, it's turned over to that other person. And if that other person says, no way, there's no way I can forgive you. That was horrendous. It's, I can't be around you anymore. I can't see you anymore, whatever it is. If they say no, they can't forgive you, you're done. You've asked for forgiveness. You've turned it over to them. They have rejected that forgiveness. It's over. It's done. Okay? Let it go. That's the end of it. Sorry. I know it hurts and I know it sucks, but that's how it is. If the other person says, nope, I just can't forgive you, there's just no way, then that's it. That's the end of the conversation. Don't expend any more energy trying to make things right. Don't expend any more energy trying to fix things, because that person is not in the place to offer that forgiveness. Now, might they get there eventually? Maybe. What part could you play in that? Honestly, your part in that is very, very small. It's very, very little. Essentially, you have to demonstrate why that person should forgive you. And I don't mean buy them stuff, flowers, or cards, or all this. No, I'm talking about that whatever it is, you have to be able to show not just that person, but anyone, really everyone else. You have to show that you are worthy of that forgiveness, and not worthy in your mind, right? Oh, I'm worthy of forgiveness. I did this X, Y, Z, I did all that. No, that has nothing to do with it. It has to be in their mind. Have you done enough that warrants their forgiveness? And you may never get to that point, which is why I say, if they are already at that point, the best you can do is move on, learn from the mistake, learn from the issue, learn from the incident, and do your best to not repeat that. And who knows, maybe that person will see, okay, you know what? I'm better now. I'm good now. We're good now. We can try this friendship, this relationship again, whatever that entails. I will tell you another thing is that if someone has wronged you and you've given it thought and you've come to a place where you are ready to forgive someone that has wronged you, and that is so, so hard. Oh, it is so hard. When someone has done something that hurt you or hurt your family and ultimately hurt you, through that action, it is so hard to forgive someone that's hurt you. But if you get to that point, then it's very important to tell that person, hey, look, I know you messed up. You messed up bad. You hurt me bad. And here's what you did. X, Y, Z. Enumerate it out. Spell it out. Here's what you did to hurt me. But I forgive you for that. Now, you don't have to forget. Remember, forgive does not equal forget. You can forgive someone for something they did, but you don't have to forget what they did. And by not forgetting, essentially what that does is that helps you, it helps you remember that you don't want that to happen again, right? So hopefully it's a learning experience where you learn what someone has done to you and you don't want that to happen again. And it's really hard with the person who did it because you're taking a huge leap of faith. You're taking a huge chance on this person not doing what they did, right? So that can be very, very hard. Another thing to think about in terms of relationships and forgiveness and that type of thing, if you're the person who did the wrong, okay, let's not sugarcoat it. Let's say you're the person who did wrong, and you're now going back to the person that you're trying to repair that relationship, and you're trying to make things right. It's very important that you totally understand what you did wrong. So some of that may be the conversation into what you think you did wrong compared to what they think you did wrong. Because sometimes that doesn't match up. Sometimes what you think you did isn't what they were mad about or what they broke the relationship over. And so sometimes it's a really tough sit down, knock down, drag out sometimes. But have that understanding as to exactly what happened. What did I do wrong? Here's what I think I did wrong. Or if I know, there's no doubt, here it is. This was wrong. I was wrong. Again, you ask forgiveness. Could you please forgive me? And spell out what you plan to do to demonstrate that that's not going to happen again, but that also that person can trust you again. What are you going to do for that relationship, for that friendship that is going to demonstrate? Actions speak louder than words. You can say, I love you, I'm sorry, I'm wah. No. What are the actions you are going to take that let that person know, I know I was wrong, I really, really screwed up, but I want you to trust me again, and here is what I'm going to do to help build that trust back again. Maybe it was spending money, okay? And so you're trying to fix this, and so that one of the things is that you turn over all the financial handlings to the other person temporarily until you guys feel more comfortable that you both can handle those finances without going on a spending spree or whatever. You've got to take those steps to fix things, okay, if you're going to fix things. And you have to tell the other person how you're going to fix those things. And then you have to stick with it. And if you don't stick with it and that person never wants to see you again, never wants to talk to you again, it's over. It's done. You tried. It's done. You screwed up. Now, if it turns out, I will tell you, if it turns out that you get in a relationship, friendship, whatever, with someone who is very forgiving, you also have to recognize that this person is probably going to forgive you, even if you do it 900 times. But you aren't going to do it 900 times because that destroys that trust, that relationship. It's one of those things where every time you build back and you destroy it, then when you build back, it's not quite the same. So yes, maybe this person is going to forgive you, but I will tell you that ultimately there does come a breaking point. So in your brain, you think, oh, it doesn't matter. I could do this 900 times and they're going to forgive me. For them, there comes a breaking point, and that breaking point will catch you completely off guard, for starters. And secondly, when that breaking point comes, not only is it over, but it is over in a bad, ugly way. Okay? So you just don't want to get to that point. I mean, if the whole idea is to rebuild the relationships, to rebuild those friendships, then you want to make sure that you reach out to those folks and you say, hey, we've got to fix this. I want to fix this. What can I do? And that's something else we haven't talked about. When you're talking to the other person, find out if there's something that they have in mind. What can I do that's going to show that I'm serious about working on this friendship, on this relationship, that I want this to be a positive, awesome friendship. We were friends, and I know we got into a fight, and I was so stupid, and I can't believe I did that. But I'm telling you, I'm not going to do that anymore. And here's how I'm not going to do that anymore. Is there something else that you wish or you want me to do that is going to make sense in rebuilding this relationship. Now, be careful of that, because some people are going to tell you things that make absolutely no sense, or they may, I don't know, they may come up with things that are just absurd, or that put your life in jeopardy or jeopardize your own character. And no, that is manipulative, and that is just as wrong coming from them to you as it is for you to come up with something similar as you're trying to do things. And I will tell you, a lot of times what the answer is going to be is, I don't know. I don't know what you can do. I have no idea how you're going to repair this relationship. I don't have a clue. But I'm willing to give you a shot. I'm willing to say, okay, you screwed up, and you screwed up, and you're asking for forgiveness, and you're wanting to be my friend again. It's gonna take some work, man. I'm telling you right now. And I just don't know. I don't know if I can trust you or not. At this point, I'll loosen I'll kind of loosen the restraints a little bit. I won't tear down the wall, but I'll lower it a little bit, and we'll see how it goes. But that person that you're trying to repair that relationship with, they may not immediately want to start hanging out all the time, or they may not even want to talk to you all the time. Remember, this is a lot like, it's a lot like starting a brand new friendship, a brand new relationship with someone, except you've hurt them or they've hurt you. So there is not only I'm not real sure who you are or what you believe or what you stand for, aspect of a new relationship, but there's also the aspect of, I don't know what you stand for now. I don't know exactly who you are or what you believe in now. I know what things were like, and you burned me. So there's a lot of caution there. There's a lot of things that would have to be worked out. So I know this is really, really long-winded, and it's a really long conversation to have, but I've had a couple of, like I said, there's been some comments, there have been some conversations outside of comments about friendships and repairing friendships and moving on from friendships. And I think it's important. It's not something that can be answered in a little, reply in a comment. It's not something that can be handled, I don't think anyway, in an email or in a blog post. Or this is very personal. This is very deep. So if you've got a problem with someone where you used to be friends and you're not friends anymore, but you still want to be friends, or you want to try to repair that, then you've got to, first of all, again, assess yourself. What happened in that? I mean, be straight up honest. If you screwed up, you screwed up. And you've got to own that. You've got to understand it. You got to know why. If the other person screwed up, do they know and do they own what went wrong in the relationship? And if they refuse to, or they just don't acknowledge that, or they're like, I didn't do anything wrong, it was all you, and whatever it was might have been wrong, then you have to be prepared to accept the fact that that relationship may end up not continuing. And like I said, it's going to hurt. It's going to suck. It's going to, so much pain and hurt. But ultimately, if the ultimate result is that relationship is over, then it's over. And that's it. There's nothing that you can do to repair it, and you just have to move on with life. And if somewhere down the road that person decides to try that relationship again, at that point, then it's really the ball's in your court. I mean, if you tried and they said no, and you go your separate ways, and then 2 years down the road, they come back and they're like, oh, you know what? I think we should be friends again. We had that crazy falling out, and here's this. You still have to go through all these steps. You have to take ownership. They've got to take ownership. There's got to be forgiveness in there on both sides. and within yourself, there's got to be that forgiveness. And then at that point, you decide, you know what? I thought I was going to be friends with you, but I'm good. I'm really sorry, but you showed me that we didn't have to be friends, and I'm okay, and we're good. Or you may say, oh, that is awesome. I'm so glad we're going to try to be friends again. Let's I don't know, maybe you pick up where you left off. I'm not a big fan of that. There's definitely rebuilding, but hey, yeah, let's see. You want to hang out, Friday night or whatever. Then you kind of build up from there. So I just wanted to take some time and share my thoughts based on things that have been asked of me about other people and different conversations that I've had, even outside of YouTube itself. It's just some things that I needed to express, and hopefully this helps. I don't know. Hopefully it helps someone out there who may be struggling with a relationship, or struggling with a friendship that's not there anymore, or perhaps you're in a situation where you're not quite sure if that friendship still needs to exist or not, or that relationship needs to go on. Then these are the kinds of things to think about. Is there something you need to forgive yourself for? Is there something that you need to ask forgiveness for? Is there something you need to forgive the other person for? Are there things that can't be repaired no matter what? And again, you got to be brutally honest. I think that's the hardest part. We like to lie to ourselves. We like to sugarcoat everything. We like to hope. We love hope. We love to hope things are going to be great and they're going to turn out awesome and fantastic, and it's all going to work out. And that's just not the way it is. Life's not a fairy tale. Sometimes things don't work out. And sometimes that's the result of us taking a deep look at ourselves and at a particular relationship or friendship and going, what am I doing? Why am I putting all this energy into something that's obviously not going to go anywhere? And then at that point, if you have to walk away, you walk away. Or you look at things and go, okay, this is a little broken, but we can fix this together. We can figure this out, and one little step at a time, we can rebuild this relationship. And here's what I'm going to do to help in that regard. And again, the other person may say, oh, well, and here's what I'm going to do. And you come together and slowly move that relationship forward. So I hope this helps. I know it's kind of rambling and well, brutally honest, but sometimes I think that's kind of what we need. Sometimes you just have to look in the mirror and face the facts and know that friendship is over. It's not going to work. This other friendship, it was over, or maybe it is over, but it can be repaired. And so maybe reaching out and saying, look, I really screwed up. This is what needs to be fixed. Can you forgive me? Can we move on? And you go from there and see how that goes. So anyway, I hope that helped. Feel free to leave any questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories down in the comment section below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, so much for listening. We'll see you next time.